Welcome. You're tuned to the Urban Affairs program. It's time to get up for Urban Perspectives with your host, Pete Rhodes.
Welcome. You're watching Urban Perspectives. I'm your host, Pete Rhodes. On this edition of Urban Perspectives, we spotlight a communications mogul, restaurant proprietor, nightclub owner, and a multi-Grammy award-winning producer and musician, an actress, singer, and dancer. This show is all about people who wear multiple creative hats and do it well. Meet them next here on Urban Perspectives. My first guest is a member of the fastest growing business segment in America, Latinas. She operates a radio station, a restaurant, and one of the hottest Latin clubs in the Twin Cities. Please welcome Maya Santamaria. Maya, thanks for being here with me. How you doing?
Thank you, Pete. I'm doing well. Thank you very much.
How did you come about doing all the things that you do? 3 different things at one time. How is that happening?
Yes, well, to me, it's really all part of the same thing.
Yeah.
It's all part of the music industry, entertainment industry, and of course the promotions and the marketing and press that goes along with it. So I see it as one, although we do have different hats that we wear.
Yeah. So radio, they kind of have a synergy about them that I would gather helps to make that long day an exciting day, at least.
That's right. Well, I see the radio as one way of promoting the music promotions, the concerts that we put on at our venues. Mm-hmm. And of course the food is part of it, but so is the entertainment and the music, and of course the culture is a very big piece of it. So really it's the cultural piece that we are showcasing in all of the things that we do.
Speaking of which, culturally, how important is what you do and what you represent as a role model and a top businesswoman here in the Twin Cities? How important is that not only to your community, but the overall general community?
I think that culture is the #1 thing that makes the community whole and keeps it vibrant. Right now, the Latino community is not interested in being a piece of the melting pot. Mm-hmm. We're interested very much in bringing our culture forward in the United States and also in Minnesota and the Twin Cities here, and maintaining a very, very strong connection to the community. The new generation is brought up very much understanding that the culture, the language, the food, the music is important to continue and to foster and to, of course, enjoy. Right. As a community.
What are some of the pitfalls? You know, women in business tend to, although they're the fastest growing in your community and in communities overall, what are some of the pitfalls and some of the advantages of being a woman in business?
Well, it does have both. I think that it is an advantage to be a woman in some cases, and certainly that's one reason why I'm here today. It got me here today, right? But also, there are definitely a lot of circumstances where machismo, at least in my community, is a very real thing. And it's funny because the higher up I get on the ladder, the more in tune to that machismo that I am becoming, and the more I'm seeing that there are forces that are starting to want to push me down because I'm raising up the ladder. Mm-hmm. And if you had asked me that 2 years ago, I probably would have told you that I don't feel that there is a lot of male discrimination against me, and today I'm here to say I really do think that I am starting to see it more and more as I progress. Mm-hmm. So that's an interesting thing that you see. When you're still on the lower echelons of business, I think people don't notice you as much, but when they start seeing that you're going up, they start saying, let's push her down. Mm. And I think that a lot of women in different aspects of the community they see it as well. But there are a lot of people to help hold you up too at the same time, a lot of people that bring you up, and so it's a balance.
Well, what advice would you give a young woman of any race and ethnicity who wants to get into business or is in business now? What advice would you give them to continue their successful path?
My advice to any entrepreneur, and especially female entrepreneurs of color that are trying to get into business or improve their business, is that they need to be capitalized. You need to go out there and get that money. There is money out there. Mm-hmm. Do not try to go into business undercapitalized, because there are a lot of people with resources that will be able to compete better than you. Mm-hmm. So certainly go out there, get that funding. In the restaurant world, we say that everything is going to take 3 times more than you expected. I find that to be very true in a lot of different business aspects. So make sure that you keep that business plan in focus, and then when you get capitalized and you're ready to go, it's all about putting your nose to the grindstone, keeping focus and grinding it out, keeping it keeping that focus very, very strong, and perseverance. It's okay to fail, and it's okay to have mistakes. It's just not okay to give up.
Yes, right. Now, the three distinct businesses, tell us who they are and where you are.
Yeah, well, I have more than 3 businesses, and we have some new ones coming up, as you know. Right now, my baby is, of course, my restaurant and nightclub, El Nuevo Rodeo. We're on 27th and Lake in Minneapolis, in the barrio.
Yeah.
And we are the top Latin nightclub. We bring in the biggest artists all the way from Mexico and all the Mexican U.S. as well.
Yeah.
And we have wonderful Mexican food. And the continuation of that that we just opened up in St. Paul is Las Sirenas, which is also a wonderful Mexican seafood restaurant on the west side with dancing and nightclub component to it as well.
And what is the radio station?
And the radio station is La Raza, 1400 and 1470 on the AM dial.
Wow.
And so you'll be able to hear lots of really good Mexican and Latino music on that station.
You are doing a fantastic job. We're so glad that you could be here with us. Maya, Santamaria, you got to come back.
Thank you very much. We'll come back. We'll talk about Telemundo, Minnesota.
Let's do that. All right, let's do that. Up next is a music arranger, producer, and musician whose credit includes stints with Rufus and Chaka Khan. He's a Grammy winner and a producer of multiple gold and platinum records. You don't want to miss my next conversation up next on Urban Perspectives. Welcome back to Urban Perspectives. My next guest is a child prodigy, a drummer for Curtis Mayfield, Jerry Butler, Rufus and Chaka Khan. He's a producer, arranger of hits from Natalie Cole to Janet Jackson, NDRE, and countless others. With numerous gold, platinum, and Grammy awards to his credit, please welcome Andre Fischer. Andre, I know you don't like all the accolades, but thanks for being here.
It does if every time you say it, you give me $1.
All right, sounds good, sounds good. You know, with all the things that you've done, what stands at the top of your list and why?
You mean behind being a father of 5 children?
Yeah, yeah.
That's the pinnacle of my life right now. After that, I would say is the Rufus and Chaka stuff. I'm very proud of that work because it was different. And then I'd say Brenda Russell's first album. Were Only for One Night, which Luther Vandross covered. And then after that, I would have to say between Unforgettable with my ex-wife Natalie and maybe a little Nina Simone thrown in.
That's fantastic. How was it working with Nina?
Nina was a very interesting person, but the only way we got along was as musicians. When she wanted to be the diva, I couldn't deal with that.
Okay.
So we became good friends as fellow musicians.
That's great.
And we had a great time.
You know, you have this fantastic project, Twin Cities Mobile Jazz Project. We had a chance to work with you on it and continue to work with you on it. Tell us a little bit about it, how important it is for you.
Well, it's very important for me, but it's also in honoring Dr. Billy Taylor. I must always mention that, a fabulous musician and someone who started the Jazzmobile in New York.
Yes.
And matter of fact, it's still going on to this day, where he took a flatbed truck with Dizzy Gillespie or Duke Ellington on it to the neighborhoods of Harlem to make a renaissance and also to have the people appreciate an American art form, and that's jazz. We're doing the same here in Minneapolis, but what we have is great parks. We have fabulous parks here, which is a natural place where children congregate. And it's more than playing music. I equate it to a cinnamon roll with a vitamin in it.
Okay.
And in essence, as a musician and as a producer, who carries on our traditions when we're done? And you have to teach them and you have to mentor. And also music and all the arts and technologies, these are all things that prepare our children for the 21st century.
You know, when I have an opportunity to talk with some of those greats like Ramsey Lewis, or we're doing the backstages at the Dakota, or we're talking with Terrence Blanchard, one of the things they always say, it's a lack of spaces and a lack of music training is going to hamper the future generations of musicians. Would you agree?
I agree, because for some urban children, music has become an escape from a neighborhood or from a situation where it has to be a love. If the content is honored, what comes with it as far as whether it's success or not. It's the ability to create. And we need critical thinkers for this century. As we see with all the things repeating themselves, including racism, we need to have to prepare our children. It's not what you protect them from, it's what you prepare them for.
Aye.
So
great.
Myself as a father, the Jazzmobile is about music, culture, some technology. It's in preparation to make critical thinkers.
You've got a great partnership going now with the Mobile Jazz Project.
Yes, I do.
With St. Paul Public Schools. Talk a little bit about that and how is it working?
I'm very grateful for that. It has to do with Tyrese Cox, who's in engagement, and Jackie Turner, who's engagement for the St. Paul school system. We've become a community partner. I needed a large entity to, they say no one dates a girl till somebody asks her to the prom. So I'm trying to get dated.
Okay.
And we're turning this from being in the parks every week and giving free concerts and workshops to children to, in the winter, it turns into an after-school program. 4 days a week, 3 hours a day. And it introduces our children to some of the things that the school boards, because of budgetary reasons or because they may not necessarily be on that tip, that we can do. I feel that as a parent, it's my responsibility. If there were no school, I'd be home training my child.
How has this impacted you with all the things that you've done in closing? How has it made Andre Fischer a stronger, better person?
If you went to my father, who has since passed last year, and you told him that I won Grammys and I've done all of these things, he'd look at you and he'd shake his head and he'd say, that's what he's supposed to do. In other words, I learned a long time ago, begrudgingly, I fought it at first, that my job is to be in the service of others.
Right.
But the only way you can do that, it has to feel comfortable, it has to fit you. And I'm just growing into the fact that it fits me. And I need to do this. I need to do it as much as it's beneficial. I also need to do it.
Well, the Mobile Jazz Project is a fantastic addition to our community, and we're so glad that you're doing it. I'm so glad you're here with me today on this Urban Perspective.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Andre Fischer.
Thank you very much.
Weekly here on Urban Perspectives, we present Shining Stars, brought to you this week by Continental Diamond, highlighting people, places, and events that contribute to the vibrancy of the urban community. Our shining star this week is considered a Renaissance man who is an advocate for positive youth development in arts. He's an artist himself, a poet and actor. Let's take a look at Chadwick Niles Phillips. Coming up, I will talk with a recording artist, experienced theater performer, and modern dance artist. Her support of meaningful causes has garnered attention of her beauty inside and out. Find out about her next on this edition of Urban Perspectives. Weekly here on Urban Perspectives, we present Shining Stars, brought to you this week by Continental Diamond, highlighting people, places, and events that contribute to the vibrancy of the urban community. Our shining star this week is considered a Renaissance man who is an advocate for positive youth development in the arts. He's an artist, poet, and actor. Let's take a look at Chadwick Niles Phillips.
I'm Chadwick Niles Phillips. I'm a Renaissance man. I'm the founder of the Hip Hop History and the Arts curriculum. Hip Hop History and the Arts is a curriculum that I founded 3.5 years ago, and it's an art and life curriculum, teaching kids that they can be something in life, no matter if it's business, no matter if it's becoming a leader for the people, all different aspects. And plus, we focus on the history of different aspects of art. Well, I was in New York City before I moved here, and I was on a major record label doing music, but then I worked for major film companies, and I acted too. So I wanted to create a curriculum that had to do with everything that I embodied artistically. So when I moved here, I started from that standpoint, and from there it just grew. The High School for Recording Arts was generous enough to bring me in to implement my curriculum, Hip Hop History and the Arts, within the school. I was an advisor, and you have basically 30 students under your jurisdiction, and you basically guide them towards graduation. So that was one lane. Another lane, I taught performance. We had a performance section every 2 weeks called Pick Me Up, you know, and the last thing was teaching the Hip Hop History and the Arts curriculum there. So it was like a lot of different hats that I wore. Well, I host the Poets Groove open mic. It's the longest running open mic in the Twin Cities. and it's very multicultural. It's rich, it's eclectic, it's laid back but electric at the same time. And it's just love in there. I actually DJ before the show. I'm a big fan of just soul, neo-soul, jazz, calypso, Afrobeat, and I really want to bring that type of jambalaya, you know, that type of flavor to it. And then the show starts at 11, the band sets up, and we get live. It's a 16-slot open mic, and it's just a beautiful time for the Twin Cities, yeah. This is Chadwick Niles Phillips, and you are watching Urban Perspectives.
My next guest is a soul songstress, dynamic dancer, and award-winning theatrical performer who has shared the stage with a number of world-class musicians and actors, including Whoopi Goldberg and hometown talent Alexandria O'Neal. Please welcome Timotha Lanae.
Hey.
Timotha.
Hey,
I'm glad to have you here.
I'm so excited to be here.
You know, we were out at a recent community event. It started raining. You were supposed to come up next. You did not leave. You just hung in there, and they said you did it after the rain.
Rain or shine, you got to be ready to sing and do your thing. So.
I love it. I love it. You know, you had an album recently that you put out, Ladies of Jazz, that had also a benefit part of it, which you do a lot of. Talk to us about that mission behind Ladies of Jazz.
Yeah, Ladies of Jazz, it's like a twofold mission because obviously I have a passion for music, but then I also have a passion for children and youth in the arts. And so I wanted to do a project that kind of merged the two passions together. So Ladies of Jazz was a tribute song that I wrote that paid tribute to different jazz greats like Ella Fitzgerald, Lena Horne, and I got together all of the jazz legends and singers in town that I love, like Debbie Duncan, Gwen Matthews, Patti Peterson, Jerry Lynn Still, and they all contributed their voices to the song. And then that single, we put the single out and raised money for youth programs in the arts. So it was just really, it was an exciting time for me to work with people that I've always admired in town, and then also to be able to give back to the community. And
on top of that, you got a hit out of it. We were playing it all the time. And continue to play it right now.
Thank you for supporting it. Yeah.
Talk to us a little bit about the difference in your opinion, because I know you're hot in Europe and in England and places. We'll talk about that moving forward. But what's the difference, do you think, in the audience here, stateside, as they say, and the European audience in terms of how they gravitate to your music?
That's a good question. You know, I feel like the funny thing is music is the universal language in general. I find no matter where I am, there's just this general love for music. I was in Paris, and it was like, it didn't matter that there's that language barrier. Everybody's just moving to the music because music is the universal language. But I feel that here in the States, there's a love for soul, but it seems like more so over in London and the UK, where my album did so well, reached #1 on the UK soul charts. There's this love for soul music, and there's so many DJs that play soul music and people that go out to hear it. And I think that that might be the difference. There's just this dedication to soul music, and people will come out in droves to hear it out over in the UK. So
that's great. Well, you know, when I first met you, I think you were on the stage because you do theater. And then we saw this thing where she's a dancer as well. You know, a contemporary dance. How do you maneuver between the various fields and do it seamlessly and as well as you do?
Well, to me, you know what, they're all kind of connected because it's all entertainment to me. It's all creativity. So it's almost like when I have to ask myself, what would I choose if I had to pick one? I can't. You know, so to me, they complement each other. So because I love to move and love to dance, that complements my stage show when I'm performing and singing songs for my album. And also because I love to sing and love to act, then that's great for musical theater when I'm doing shows, you know, on the road or here in town at different theaters. So I just feel like they all just kind of join together in equal entertainment and performance, and that's what I love to do.
Does being from Minneapolis here, you know, with the Minneapolis sound and the wealth of talent that we have, does that give you a boost?
I think it does. I mean, to grow up and be surrounded by so many amazing musicians and producers and dancers in the theater community, it's just, I feel that it definitely has influenced me. And just to have so many different opportunities for the arts here in the Twin Cities. There's so many different opportunities to be able to develop your craft. And so I feel like that has just helped me so much.
Well, it looks like you're coming out with a project every other year, or at least, you know, you keep us waiting for a little bit, and then bam, there it is. You got a new project now.
Yes,
Talk to
I
us
do.
a little
I'm
bit
so
about
excited about it. I have
Yeah.
a new album coming out, Rewind is the title of it, and really excited. Friday, August 1st, we're having CD release concert, and it's my first concert, my first full concert with my full band here in the Twin Cities in like 2.5 years because I've been traveling so much overseas. So I was like, I need to come home and just do a concert, you know, for the people that I grew up with and all the people here in the Twin Cities. So that's going to be Friday, August 1st at Amsterdam Byron Hall in St. Paul, and I'm so excited. It's going to be fun.
That should be good. That's one thing I like about the fact that you use a lot of the local talent whenever you're doing things,
it's
even in the
videos. Yeah, I mean, it's world class. World class musicians are here, so yeah.
So what can they expect from that show?
Well, it's going to be obviously me and my full band, some special surprise guests that I won't say anything about, and then also we have opening performances by very talented R&B artist Mike DeCole, and then also another great artist, Chris Lawrence. So I'm really excited about that. It's going to be fun. It's just going to be songs from my album Red that that's still going over in the UK and doing well there. So that album is going to be doing songs from that, and then also songs from my new album Rewind. So I'm really excited about that.
Well, I am so excited for you and what you bring to our cities. Timotha, Lanae, thanks for being here on Urban Perspectives.
Thank you. So good to be here, Pete.
Thank you for watching Urban Perspectives today. I would like to also thank my guests, Santamaria, Fischer, Timotha, Lanae, and most importantly, you, the audience, for getting up with Urban Perspectives. And remember, there are positive things happening in our cities. Find out about them right here on Urban Perspectives. Now enjoy photos of the week featuring the Something Special annual Whiteout event. I'm Pete Rhodes, and I'll see you next week.